I will admit that this game, it's kinda not good for casual players. It's kinda not good for casual players. Well, Animal Crossing God 28, as your official Mario Tennis aficionado, I'm here to tell you that there's one entry in the series that outdoes Mario Tennis Aces as a whole. I don't particularly like comparing games to each other, but I feel like for this case, I kinda have to do that. I stand by my statement. Aces isn't a good casual game because there's just not enough content to justify a $60 price point. Are you kidding me? I can't really recommend it if you strictly want a casual Mario Tennis experience. There just isn't that much extra content to keep casual players coming back, but you want to talk about content? Mario Power Tennis for the GameCube. And it was also released on Wii, but we're not going to talk about that. This game was developed and released in 2004 by our friends over at Camelot Games. They'd already handled a couple of Mario sports games, namely golf and tennis, on the Nintendo 64, so I think they were the clear choice to pick for this game. Oh, and apparently, at least according to Wikipedia, they already had a Mario Tennis game for the GameCube, but they completely scrapped it for some reason. So they used the same technology and models from Mario Golf Toadstool Tour to make this Mario Tennis, in order to make it easier on themselves. I guess you could call these sister games since they were actually developed using the... Hey, you're not sisters, you're cousins! Anyway, Camelot Games were masters of their craft, combining solid fundamental gameplay, wacky mechanics and gimmicks, all topped with a unique charm and personality that no Mario sport game, at least in the modern era, has matched. I mean, personality is just oozing from this game, even right from the start when you boot up. You get this fun, lighthearted cutscene that involves Wario and Waluigi getting real salty whenever they lose against Mario and Luigi in a tennis match.
Incredible.
So Bowser decides he's gonna train them so they can all get their tennis-related revenge in the grand finals. I can't really explain it that well, you definitely need to check out the cutscene. It's worth it, I swear. And you just don't really get stuff like this from Nintendo anymore. I mean, look at Aces. What's funny about Luigi being possessed by the spirit of a haunted tennis racket or something? I don't know. Why can Wario and Waluigi talk in full sentences now? I don't know, I mean, things are just different compared to the GameCube era. The Mario series used to be a bit more malleable, you know, it was a little bit more wacky and off the wall. But now it's just been kind of Disney-fied.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
Alright, anyway. Let's talk about the presentation for this game. All of the character models look really good actually, especially for being 17 years old. Oh god. Even for the GameCube era they look nice. Look at the screenshot of Mario Kart Double Dash. They look a bit more blocky, like they have a little bit less polygons. Granted, it was released a whole year before Tennis was, but still. The only complaint I would have is the coloring and lighting sometimes hit the models weird, and it gives them this kind of unique GameCube-y glow, and they start to look a little bit plasticky. But moving on from the characters, the tennis courts themselves look pretty good, especially the themed ones. You can tell a lot went into crafting these settings, and because this game was released on the GameCube, the tennis courts take place in the GameCube Mario games. I mean, look, we're playing on Rico Harbor, Delfino Plaza. Hey, it's Luigi's Mansion. It makes it feel like it's not really a spin-off, more so like part of the MCU. Oh, Mario Cinematic Universe. It reminds me kind of like how you can see the other levels from one level in Super Mario Sunshine. And speaking of Sunshine, even the little icons in the menu are Shine Sprites. That's pretty cool. Most courts have a Toadsworth as a referee and Lakitu as the ball boy. That makes perfect sense. And at the edge of the court, they'll have other characters that are more ball boys, managers, moral support, I don't know what they're officially called. Tennis experts, let me know. And when you compare it to Mario Tennis Aces, I mean, there are themed courts in Mario Tennis Aces, however, they're not necessarily based on anything. Like, it would have been pretty cool if, it would have been so cool if they did like a New Donk City tennis court. Like, That makes sense. Why didn't they do that? Or they could have done Luigi's Mansion 3 tennis court as well. I don't know, maybe you like play on the roof or something of the hotel. There's so many ideas they could have borrowed for Mario Tennis Aces, and instead we get like a generic sand land, a generic forest. I mean, I will say that the airship one is pretty cool, and the snow one is pretty cool as well. I do like it, but like I said, like they're not based on a specific Mario game, and I think that's a huge missed opportunity. Right, so now that we're on the court, let's go ahead and talk about the core gameplay in this game. You know, the meat and potatoes. Yeah, the meat and potatoes, know what I'm saying? So this game uses the exact same rule set as tennis, and even if you don't fully understand them, the game is nice enough to explain them if you need, in this handy little game manual. God, I miss these. Look at how much care went into this. There's little infographics, Q&As, unique character art. But yeah, there's a couple different shot types in the game. The topspin, which according to the manual is a high speed shot with a high trajectory and a high bounce. A slice, which is slower in speed and has a lower trajectory and a lower bounce. Lob shots, which hit toward the back of the court. And drop shots, which fall really close to the net. And finally there's the smash hit, which, you know, you smash the ball, kind of like... But that only works if your character is standing inside the star point. So in any given tennis match, you're going to be using all these shot types in order to try and gain the advantage. And obviously it's good to mix up your shots in between, especially if you see a really good opportunity. The big mechanic that this game revolves around is your power meter, hence the name, Mario Power Tennis. Anybody? Oh my
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
See, it's this little meter that you build by pretty much just hitting the ball. But if you charge your shot up before you hit the ball, then you gain more meter, which is signified by this glow around your racket. The thing is though, in the heat of the moment, you're not going to be looking at the racket. Your eye is most likely going to be focused on the ball. So I think that was kind of a misstep on Camelot's part. It should have been like a little meter on the UI or something, but yeah. Once it's fully charged up, your racket starts to glow and you have two options. You can use a defensive power shot, which can return the ball from a pretty good distance. Keep in mind it doesn't reach across the whole court. There are limits for most characters. Looking at you, Peach. What is this? This is broken tier, come on. Or you can use an offensive shot, only if you're really close to the ball. Your offensive shot usually has a twist to it. For example, the ball will go really fast or has a crazy amount of spin. And if you're on the receiving end of the shot, then you have an effect placed on you if you hit the ball back. For example, there's the slowdown, the speed, and you know, there's a couple other ones as well. You can, however, counteract the effects of the offensive shot with a defensive shot. And this creates sort of like a game within the game, you know, kind of like a mini game. So many different interactions can happen, especially when you play doubles. You have to assess the situation and manage your risks. Do you want to go offensive versus offensive? Do you want to go offensive versus defensive? It's not something with deep layers upon layers, but it's definitely a fun addition to the game. And that's not to mention all these unique animations that there are. Some of these don't even make sense. Like Waluigi's defensive shot, he said, I paid for these swimming lessons, I'ma use these swimming lessons. But I think Shy Guy's special shots are a little problematic, especially in today's age. Anyway, because there isn't something like zone speed or trick shots in this game, your spacing and positioning are a lot more valuable. You have to commit to your actions a lot more because, well sure, you can lunge for the ball, but it covers such a small area of the court, it's really more of a last resort. And because of this, the gameplay feels a lot more kind of like weighty, I would say. The characters don't move as fast, so you can make one or two mistakes, but after that, you're gonna get punished. For example, sometimes my opponent will use a defensive power shot, but I'll return the ball very quickly since I'm close to the net, and they won't be able to recover in time in order to return the ball. Or sometimes you'll be just a little too far from the net, and your opponent will punish you by hitting the ball at the nastiest angle because they chose the more aggressive option. Or even sometimes it's just your reactions weren't good enough. So yeah, there's a really big emphasis on picking your actions and spacing wisely. In fact, the game even will punish you if you have bad spacing. Yeah, you may hit the ball, but it'll fly way out of bounds, and your opponent will get the point. And yes, not even special shots are safe. But with all that being said, I think it creates a very good game feel. I still have a lot of fun playing this game, even after Mario Tennis Aces. And I haven't even mentioned doubles yet. To me, a lot of the fun comes from here. Yeah, so I think there was a big focus on playing doubles in this game. You can see so in the intro cutscene how literally all of the matches are doubles matches, and also in the character select screen, each character is paired with their corresponding partner. So yeah, I think it's fair to say this game was created with doubles in mind. In any given doubles match, there's two positions you can play, net and back position, I guess, I don't know what it's called. The player at the net is the instigator. They're the main line of offense and the first line of defense. Because they're so close to the net, they can hit some really shallow angles. They can smash hit the ball even if there's no start point, and they can also return the ball very quickly and punish the opposing team whenever they're not positioned well enough to return the ball. The back position is kind of like the anchor of the team, the backup, the last line of defense. Their main objective is to support net position. Whenever net misses the ball, they have to be there in order to back them up. Their main goal is to send that ball back by any means possible. That being said, there are countless strategies you can use in this game, but as long as both of you are working together, you're gonna do well. Unless you're like I am when I was a kid and you just have two people at the net. When you throw all these gameplay mechanics and gameplay ideas, it creates a really satisfying gameplay loop. You can have fun if you're playing with friends, or even if you're playing with CPUs, which I did so for this video. Especially playing doubles, there's this kind of harmony that you get, constantly shifting between going on the offensive and the defensive, and it feels really nice to be working with a partner, even if they are just a CPU. And it makes it so whenever you win, you feel like you deserve the win. Once you feel like you've mastered the basics, you can start mixing it up with gimmick courts and bonus modes. As previously mentioned, there are separate themed courts apart from the main hard clay and grass courts. There's 7 gimmick courts to pick from, and they're not all Mario inspired. There's even a Donkey Kong one and a Wario court. Oh, and this Mario Bros court is pretty sick. But when you boil it down, about half of the gimmicks in these courts are hit the ball to a certain area in order to inconvenience your opponent. But each of these are handled a little bit differently. Hit the ball here and ghosts come up. Hit the ball here and sludge comes up. Hit the ball here and your opponent's side speeds up. And usually to relieve your opponent's attack, you have to hit the ball to a certain spot on their court in order to get rid of these effects. Hit the ball here and the ghosts go away. Hit the ball here and you shock all the claptraps. But in the case of the Delfino Plaza one, it's stand here in order to clean it up. Apart from these courts, the Rico Harbor court, it's pretty interesting. See, depending on where you hit the ball, you can actually shift the boundary lines of the court. So if you hit the ball where the water is, then it'll count as an out. The Bowser's Castle court is pretty cool as well. It's a simple idea, but it changes the gameplay up a lot. See, the court shifts depending on the character's weights and where they're standing, and man, it's like I said, it's a simple idea, but it does change the gameplay up a lot. Anyway, all of these courts build upon the basic fundamental gameplay, and they encourage you to think about matches in a different way. Rather than just focusing on getting stage control and getting the point, you have to think about your positioning, how and where you're gonna hit the ball. You have to think about your game plan outside of the main gameplay. Again, coming back to Aces, this game's courts don't make you think about tennis differently, cause the gimmicks are a lot less involved. Like this Haunted Mansion one, you just hit the ball in the mirror and it'll come out on the other mirror. Or this forest one, the piranha plant literally just eats the ball and redirects your ball. That's not to say it's not fun, but I do wish that there was a little more interesting gimmicks. Anyway, back to the GameCube version, you don't have to play with gimmicks on, you can turn them off and still enjoy these nice settings. There's also 2 extra modes that you can play. There's the ring mode and the items mode. I will admit that, for me at least, they weren't quite as fun to play. Things can get a little chaotic, especially when you're playing doubles. But if you're into that kind of thing, I feel like it can be the perfect thing to bring to a party. Speaking of, why do people only bring new games to parties? People can still have fun with old games. You know what? I'm gonna bring Mario Power Tennis to the next party I go to. Whenever that may be. Side note, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I think I prefer the Mario Tennis Aces ring shot more. I don't know, I think I just feel like I have better control of the ball in that game, and the noises it makes, it's more satisfying, the rule set is more simple. Anyway, yeah, shoot me, I don't know. So all of this gameplay is fun, but it might start to get stale if you don't feel like you're working toward anything. And that's where tournament mode comes in. There's 3 different tournaments you can enter, and you can choose either doubles or singles. The World Open is for beginner, has 3 cups, and they're all played on plain courts. Then there's the Gimmick Masters, there's only 2 cups, the Fire and Thunder Cup, but all matches are played on gimmick courts. And finally the Star Tournament. This one is for experts, Mario Tennis Pros. This one has 3 cups, but it's at a higher difficulty because each character you're playing as is in star mode. And what that means is basically they're a better version of themselves. Whenever I play this mode, it feels like I'm actually working towards something. The reason being, you can unlock a lot of cool stuff here. For example, there's 4 characters that you can unlock. They're not the most exciting characters, but they are a little bit wacky, like Wiggler. Why is Wiggler playing tennis? And Fly Guy? Man, we haven't seen that guy in a while. Hope he's okay. And finally, whenever you complete the entirety of the World Open, you unlock star characters, which, as previously mentioned, basically powers up your character. I like tournament mode because it's actually kinda hard, especially the entirety of the star tournament. And because there's unlockables behind it, it feels like a lot is on the line whenever you play. It's pretty intense at times. Oh, and for each cup you win, there's this little animation that plays out of your character winning the trophy. It's a nice little treat for you, and it's cool to see characters interacting this way. You just can't let your brother be in the spotlight, huh, Mario?
Incredible.
I'm not gonna show all of them on here, but you should definitely look them up on YouTube. Oh, and also you get one of the greatest credit scenes in all of gaming. Basically, it's a blooper reel from the intro cutscene. These are funny and honestly a nice little touch. I'm really glad Camelot went the extra mile and made these Pixar-esque shorts for absolutely no reason. Again, you should definitely go look this up. It's pretty funny. Yeah, but it really shows how much care and love went into this game. And like I said, they went all out for no reason at all, just for the benefit of the player. In case you weren't satisfied and wanted even more content, there's still more, believe it or not. The final mode that I wanted to talk about in this game, Minigames. I'm not going to talk about all of them in depth, as I feel that might be a little bit redundant, but I will say that there is one minigame for each court, each with their own unique mechanics and objectives. But I do want to highlight 3 specific minigames that stood out to me, the first being Artist on the Court. I feel like this minigame is a really good introduction to the minigames as a whole, as the objective is straightforward and pretty easy to accomplish. There's this canvas in front of you with an outline, and you basically have to hit these balls of paint into the right area so you can paint the picture. It's the right mix of wacky yet serious gameplay that you'd want from a minigame. The idea in and of itself, it is a little bit abstract, but once you start playing, you'll start to see that there's some depth to it. See, it all depends on your positioning and your shot type. It can be kind of hard to paint the picture because some parts are pretty intricate. I think this one's pretty fun, but like I said, it's kind of standard. The next one I want to talk about is the Donkey Kong one. A couple of minigames make you stretch your brain, believe it or not, being more so puzzle based, but I think this is the best representation of this type. It takes a simple concept and adds the extra layer of tennis on it in order to make it feel unique. Things can get pretty chaotic, even if it's just one player, and it can actually get pretty difficult. It tests your ability to think and plan ahead while also having good situational awareness. You can have a plan and you could try to stick to your plan, but there's gonna be a wrench thrown in there every once in a while. It can get pretty tough. You might need a water break after this one. And the other 2 that are a little bit more puzzle-like, they still require thinking and planning ahead, but in a different way. The blooper one tests your ball control and in some cases your reaction speed. And this tic-tac-toe one tests your ability to do continuous pattern movements while requiring you to still solve puzzles, being tic-tac-toe. And the last one I want to talk about is the Bowser one. Okay, seriously? What was Camelot on? I'm gonna be real, Chief, this barely has anything to do with tennis. But that being said, it's still pretty fun. That last level was difficult as heck. It feels like a Touhou style game with just how many projectiles and obstacles are being thrown at you. Add on top of that the Mecha Bowser spinning the platform you're on and breathing fire at the same time, and you got one of the hardest minigames I've ever played. But you know what? I applaud Camelot for putting this in the game. It's pretty fun, despite how far out there it is. It feels like a genuine boss fight. I just think it can be a little unfair at times with how quickly the mech breathes fire. Sometimes I don't even have time to react to it, or it just catches me in the wrong positioning and I get punished for it. Ouch. The other minigames are still fun, but I'd say they're probably more fun if you have people playing with you. Like the Chain Chomp one requires you to sort of gamble with your Chain Chomp. If you have it on red, you get double the points for each tennis ball it eats, but your opponent can send the bomb your way and make your Chain Chomp angry, so much so that it chases you down and you lose precious time. This one feels like it could be a genuine Mario Party minigame. But playing with CPUs, I mean, it's fun, but it'd be a lot more fun with friends. And the Luigi's Mansion one looked nice, but it was really easy for me. You pretty much just have to knock the ghosts back into paintings, and the further out they are, the more points they're worth. But if you let it go for too long, then they can escape and have the chance to attack you. And TBH, the coin collector one kind of bored me. It's a neat idea, but I don't know, I feel like it was kind of missing something. But yeah, I'm really glad that Camelot decided to include minigames because it makes the game feel like a complete package. You know, it really rounds it out. Especially since they had to include totally unique assets and program a bunch of different mechanics in the game, especially the Mecha Bowser one. If I'm being honest, I think I would have been fine even if the minigames weren't included, but the fact that they were included and created, it just pushes this game over the edge for me. I may not have thought about it much as a kid, but these minigames made a lasting impression on me, because you can really see how much love and care was put into this project. They released a complete, fun game. I feel like if you sent this game back in time with a GameCube, like nothing would get done. Like cavemen would just play this game all day and, I don't know, society would never progress, just because of how much content there is. When you compare it to something like Mario Tennis Aces, I mean, sure, Mario Tennis Aces has a story mode, and there are some minigames, but I don't know, it's just like, it's not the same, you know? I feel like Nintendo lately has been kind of stingy with their content, especially looking at something like Super Mario Party, Mario Tennis Aces, heck, even Animal Crossing New Horizons. But I guess it's just kind of the style of how games are nowadays. Like, they release kind of like a base game and then they slowly update it, which is fine, you know. I guess like in a way it sort of keeps the game alive, but I don't know, call me old fashioned, but back in my day I used to pay $50 and just get a whole game. I used to pay just one time and I get a whole complete game, you know what I'm saying? You know, this game sold incredibly well. If you combine the GameCube and the Wii port, over 2 million copies of this game were sold. But for some reason, I don't see a lot of people talking about this game, especially when you look at Aces and you start to think about how different these two games are. I feel like they have like two completely different theses. For Mario Power Tennis, I feel like the game devs were trying to give you like the full, complete package, you know, make a just complete Mario Tennis experience and give you the most bang for your buck. Something that has a lot of replay value. But the only thing that was missing was like a real story mode, and apparently the Game Boy version had that, and there was like RPG elements, but to be honest, I'm fine with this game, you know, it doesn't need a story mode. Yeah, and for Aces, I feel like they were trying to give you a lot of replay value, but in a different way, by making it more competitively viable, you know, something that you can like kind of climb the ranks in and, you know, get better and better at it. So in that aspect, they both have a lot of replay value, but it's just two completely different versions of it. But yeah, if you compare both games as a whole, Mario Power Tennis has more charisma, it has more like sauce, for lack of a better term. And most of the Mario sports games were bangers, to be honest, like Mario Golf, Mario Baseball, Mario Strikers, you had Mario Hoops 3-on-3 even, and there's also Mario Sports Mix, but to be honest, I didn't play that game because I don't know why, I just never bought it. But for some reason, Nintendo kind of shelved the Mario sports titles for a bit. I'm not quite sure why, if they always sold really well, and I think they were generally received well by critics. Well, I mean, you had this monstrosity. But yeah, it just felt like watered down versions of these sports titles. I don't know why they did that. And also there was the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games titles combined with this guy, like, but at the very least it feels like we're starting to get more standalone titles. I mean, we already got Mario Tennis Aces, and we got a new Mario Golf game announced. By the way, look at the drip on this, man. Oh my god. You know, Camelot Games, you really outdid yourselves with this one. Anyway, hopefully we get more Mario sports titles soon, like standalone titles, because I think they're really fun and they have a lot of potential to grow still. But, you know, it's all just up to Nintendo. Hopefully we get Mario Strikers or Mario Baseball soon. I don't know, something. Anyway, I love talking about Mario sports titles, especially the old ones, because I feel a lot of people just kind of like gloss over these, like, oh yeah, it's just Mario playing tennis, what's new, you know? Or it's like, oh, Mario's playing baseball this time, didn't he do that last time? I think they're really fun, and they deserve to be looked at with a critical eye and like praised for, you know, what they did right, because they're good games, you know, they're made by Nintendo. But yeah, with that being said, I think I've rambled on long enough. If you made it to the end of this video, I want to say thank you very much. It means a lot to me and I appreciate you a lot. Thank you very much. Like I said, I love talking about these games, and yeah, it means a lot that some people actually watch to the end. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, I've been PT Shark. Dog bless ya. Have a good one.